Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Donald Trump says the US and Iran have held talks on the complete and total resolution of hostilities in the Middle East. He says that, as a result of the talks, he has postponed threatened strikes on Iranian power plants for 5 days. Oil and gas prices fell immediately. However, Iran's foreign ministry denies such talks have taken place. Trump later says the US was represented by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. He says if the postponement of strikes goes well, we're going to end up with settling this, otherwise we're just going to keep bombing our little hearts out. Oil prices plunged and stock markets rebounded after Donald Trump said the US and Iran had held talks over halting the conflict in the Middle East. After the US president's statement on Truth Social, the price of Brent crude sank initially, while European and US shares rose. 2 people have died after an Air Canada plane collided with a firefighter vehicle responding to a separate incident. A law enforcement source familiar with the investigation confirmed the deaths, as well as multiple injuries, including 2 firefighters.
Frontier 4195, just stop there, please. Stop.
Audio from the air traffic control tower at LaGuardia reveals what was said in the seconds before the crash.
Delta 2603, go around, runway heading 2000. 646. 646, I see you collide with vehicle in its whole position. I know you can't move. The vehicle's there responding to you now.
Some 41 passengers and crew were taken to hospital.
Frontier 4195, I got the word that we're going to be closed for a little while.
All but 9 have since been discharged. 2 fire truck officers are in a stable condition in hospital. The Federal Aviation Administration issued a ground stop for the airport late on Sunday night and said there was a high likelihood it would be extended. The plane was arriving from Montreal and had landed. It had slowed to around 24 miles per hour before it collided with a vehicle from the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, which runs the airport. Former Kenyan Foreign Minister Raphael Tuju has resurfaced a day after his reported disappearance, which led to fears he may have been abducted. Speaking to local Citizen TV station on Monday afternoon, he said he had gone into hiding after being followed by an unmarked vehicle. He said that on realizing he was being tailed, he had branched off onto a road where it would be more difficult to follow him. Once he had shaken off the other vehicle, he then abandoned his car, which he said they would be looking for. Earlier, the police had said they were investigating his reported disappearance and appealed to the public for information. Socialists and allies have held on to power in France's big 4 cities, Paris, Marseille, Lyon and Lille, on a local election night that offered hopes for mainstream parties in next year's presidential elections. The new aspirants of the far left and far right also made gains, notably in Nice for an ally of Marine Le Pen and Roubaix in the far north for the France Unbowed party. But the big lesson of the evening was the failure of alliances between mainstream left and LFI, with voters turning to the centre and right in long-time Socialist Party strongholds like Clermont, Ferrand and Brest. On the contrary, in cities like Paris, Marseille and Lille, where incumbent socialists steered clear of the far left because of accusations of sectarian anti-Semitism in its ranks, left-wing administrators were comfortably returned. Hawaii's storm has already cost some $1 billion in damages after 2 consecutive storms dropped as much as 50 inches of rain in parts of the state, and murky brown floodwaters submerged some sections of the island of Oahu. More than 230 people had to be rescued, according to the governor, but officials have not recorded any fatalities to date. Officials have said the flooding in the state is the worst since 2004. And some 260,000 fans watched K-pop stars BTS perform together for the first time since October 2022 in the historic heart of South Korea's capital.
It's been a long journey, but now we're finally here!
After a 4-year hiatus due to compulsory military service in South Korea, the powerhouse K-pop group returned with a new album, Arirang. The 7 K-pop stars played a 1-hour set inspired by the South Korean flag. The stage stood with Gwanghwamun Gate as its backdrop, framed by the mountains, a strikingly Seoul scene. It was a rare honour, and the band knew it, taking turns to thank the city and its officials. Some reports claim that 300 million fans watched BTS's live comeback on Netflix. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.